All right, so in this video, I talk about the strategy that I used for sharing content on social media that did so well, I actually had to stop doing it. So if you haven't already, in this video, I talk about how and why I started implementing the strategy. And I didn't make this up. This is something that I got from Gary Vee. I implemented it and it worked so well that again, I had to stop. But in this video here, I'm going to show you examples of how I started creating content and then transitioned into documenting content. I'll show you examples of videos that went viral, videos that got me brand deals, and also just understanding and knowing that, okay, do you have a product to sell? Are you a nonprofit? Are you a business? Do you have somewhere where if your videos go viral, do you have somewhere to send your audience? And that was the mistake that I made, is I didn't have an end goal for, when the videos, when they do well, where am I going to send my audience? And also the most important is not posting to go viral, posting consistently. And if you so happen to go viral, amazing. Now, what are you going to do? Right. And so anyway, we're going to talk about all that in this next video. Let's go ahead and hop into it. Okay, so first things first, I want to touch on like my most viral video. I'm going to go ahead and bring that up here, but I also want to say that this video isn't the reason why I got all these opportunities. Yes, it helped to create social proof, but before I had this video come out, I already had 30,000 followers, and then I gained about 50,000 like overnight because of this, but this is not the main strategy. So in this next video, I'm actually going to be talking to my dean, and we're going to kind of dissect how it is that this video went so viral, but it's not the strategy. It just happened. It was an accident. It was a complete accident. So anyway, I wanted to include it first because I don't really dive into it during the whole journey where we're looking at the whole process of how I did what I did, and I just want to make sure to include it here. Also, one more thing to note is the reason why I got a lot of the brand collaborations, specifically brand deals, was because I tagged them in my videos. So I made sure to tag them. There's like the feature where you tag them on the platform and then including them in the comments. And I kind of show you how to do that. But that was one of the major reasons how I got these opportunities.
So what was in that video, do you think, that was so that you had made that was so popular? What was it?
I think it's funny because I try to dissect it because I've never had a
Hmm.
video go that viral again. um, and so I think what was interesting was, the beginning of the video had a hook. So that first 3 seconds of the video, I told them, we're gonna make an animated film in 24 hours, right? And
Yeah,
immediately that's like, wait, what?
yeah.
And then I showed like, there's gonna be execs from Disney and Netflix and Sony, so mentioning those big names. And then the video kind of goes into like me preparing to go to the school. And then I showed essentially like this is our theme, and then the process that we took in order to create the actual film. So it was getting little snippets of everyone just working. And again, like Ariana had like these instruments, so that was just like really interesting. And then filming, Jeremy working on the animation, and Paul. And so I think it was just this element of hooking them from the beginning, telling them what we were trying to do, but they don't know if we've done it yet. And then mentioning all these big names and then taking them through the process. And then the video, it was actually just a part one. So they didn't know what happened at the end of that video. So I think that it was also that kind of suspense.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah, a cliffhanger. All right, so now I want to jump in and talk about documenting versus creating content. And so for me, I want to show you basically from the very beginning of my TikTok, right? And again, I have used social media for years, ever since MySpace days, but I didn't get serious about sharing content really until TikTok. And so the videos that I shared here, I was way more consistent. I was uploading multiple videos a day, but these same videos I was recycling, or at least I was being more curated with the videos that I was recycling to Instagram, right? So most of the videos that you're going to see on my Instagram, because I'm going to show you both of them, were first created on TikTok. So the way that I started, my TikTok journey was, again, I was just, first of all, I was posting my entire TikTok is random. But a lot of my content in the beginning was me trying to create content, right? And so this was me, this is like, I'll just show you my first video. This is my first video ever, right? And I think this is just a personal project. I don't even think this was for school, but this was just to test it out, right? And so there you go. Um, and then, you know, my next videos, I was trying to, again, I was trying to create content. I was also using like trending audio, which that's something that will actually help um, elevate your video if you're using trending audio, which is completely fine to use. That's what I tend to do. But you can, some people create content for that audio specifically, when in reality you can just put it as your background. So anyway, here's me, you know, trying to create this content, um, and I was sharing a lot of, actually what I started doing was I was recycling videos from my Instagram to my TikTok. So that's what I'm talking about, is I was uploading videos from Instagram to TikTok when it wasn't originally made for this platform. And so that's how you see, you know, that it's a square, which it doesn't matter if it's a square. There's videos all the time that get all kinds of engagement, but um, I wasn't I wasn't creating natively on the platform, which I think is important. And so, you know, then I went into this whole period where I was posting content about eBay and making money online, right, using eBay. And of course, you know, those videos started doing really well, but any video that's talking about making money online usually does really well, right? It's one of the most searched keywords on the internet. So I was doing that for a little while, and I think I was just trying to test it and just to see like, oh, okay, well, how well will these videos do? Because I know that I did the same thing when I was on YouTube. I was making videos about making money online, right? And they did very well. Um, so again, I was just kind of like experimenting, and it wasn't until I got to a point where I just didn't have time to create anymore, and I started uploading um, just the work that I was working on. And I remember this is when I heard Gary Vee, like, don't create, document, right? And so, you know, here's more. I even reposted this video. I don't even know why. Um, and, you know, here's some more. And then eventually I got to a point where I started vlogging. So this was like me, and this, oops, what happened? Oh no, I must have clicked on TikTok shop. Another way to make money on TikTok. Oh no, we have to scroll. Okay, so, um, you know, I started off creating, and then I was just kind of testing the platform, you know, with things that I thought would work, which is what we often do sometimes, is like, what's the thing that's going to make us go the most viral? But that's not the thing that you actually want to do, right? Especially if you're trying to build community. You have to think about what it is that you are trying to build. And I didn't know. I had no idea, right? And that's why I'm actually restarting this journey, because now I know that, okay, community is what I'm interested in, because I didn't have a product to sell. I didn't have a course. I didn't have a YouTube channel. I had nothing to offer my audience when I did have that video go viral and I gained all of those followers. I had nowhere to send them, and I didn't have any other value to provide other than the videos that I was creating. And if that's what your goal, maybe all you want to do is, you know, have a TikTok or an Instagram or a YouTube, and you just want to have that one social platform or those multiple social platforms. You're not worried about anything else. That's fine too. Maybe you want to get brand deals. That's cool. The point is that, have an idea, have kind of a plan, and like a goal, um, where, or the end of the roadmap, right? So that you can eventually send people that way, right? And that's what I didn't have. So when I started gaining a lot of followers, again, I didn't have anywhere to send them. I don't even have an email list, right? So all of these people that came through, now that I'm trying to build something that's meaningful and valuable, right? This community that could actually help a lot of my followers, I really don't have a way to reach out to them. And most of those 80,000 followers on my TikTok, they don't even engage with my content anymore because I stopped posting as consistently, and I stopped posting the content that they came for, right? That video that went viral was really about animation and storytelling and narrative. And yes, that's part of my content, but it's not all of my content. And so because they don't engage with it, then they don't really see what I'm up to now. So anyway, I think that that's just something to keep in mind. But as you can see, you know, I was essentially vlogging I was vlogging my journey. I was vlogging, my projects, my schoolwork. And some of them were getting, a couple hundred, a couple thousand views. And, I think that we also have to remember or keep this in mind. I didn't post videos to go viral, right? And I think that that's something to also keep in mind is don't post videos to go viral, but if they just so happen to go viral, great. And you're never going to know which videos go viral because a lot of the times the videos that do, you're like, how, why, and then the video that you put so much work into and so much effort ends up flopping. And you can't be hard on yourself because at the end of the day, you as the creator, right, you can't judge your work. You have to let the audience judge it. And so you don't judge it good or bad because a lot of times it ends up being the complete opposite, right? And so that's what I learned to do. I just learned to be like, you know what, I'm just going to put these videos out there and not even worry about it. And again, some of the videos that I would have never considered going viral did, right? And so, like this one I can kind of understand because I'm providing value, right? Like
anyone that needs to draw, right? I don't know.
so that one was like an artist life hack. And then I was just posting behind the scenes videos of, like my process, right? Like, doing an artist copy, um, my work, uh, and then let's see, so this was another one which again I would never have considered it to go viral, which is kind of interesting because some of my viral videos actually have sketch in it. So that's like, okay, note to self, which I have realized that to create more of content with him, which is what I want to do. But again, this wasn't even me creating, it was just documenting. And I will admit that, like, okay, it's an interesting video. Like, I'm doing something that most people don't often do, which is printing on a puzzle, right? And showing that process and the behind the scenes. So anyway, that video, but again, I didn't post the video with the intention of it going viral. I just posted it, and if it just so happened to go viral, great. So you're not gonna know. Okay, so anyway, posting. And this is when I started really getting consistent with the vlogs. So as you can see now, it's titled, right? Like a thumbnail on YouTube. And this is what I was doing, right? Again, some videos had 16, what is this? 16, right? Just over 1,000 views. This one had 25,000 views. I'm not judging it. I'm just putting it out there. And this was a complete accident. Or actually, that wasn't there was another one that I did that was like the first version of it. This one ended up getting like 300,000 views. I guess Paw Patrol's like really popular, right? And this took me however long it took to draw, but as you can see, there's not any real editing going on other than zooming in and out. So there's that. And there was another one that I wanted to show you. This one right here. So this again was a vlog. Oops. Oh no. Okay. Back to TikTok Shop. Like what are we doing? I don't have any products in my videos. Anyway, the video that I was going to show you was a video of me like painting ceiling walls. Again, never would have thought that it would have gone viral, but it did. And then, yeah, these are the videos that I've kind of been posting now. So I haven't really been doing much vlogging. It's been more, and there are process videos, but I will say that I have not been consistent. As you can see, like my last video that I posted here was 4 days ago, right? And so, I'm actually starting my journey back to sharing content, and I am going to be documenting, but I am going to be doing a little bit of creation, but I'm going to be more intentional about it, right? And then I'm going to have, the link coming back to the school community, right? So there's something for them to, there's somewhere for them to go, and they get more value out of the content that I'm sharing or the information that I'm sharing, which essentially for me is like being able to just create, right? And create whatever it is that you're interested in, whatever projects, whatever ideas, and inspiring you and showing you how I do it, my journey, my process, and also about sketch, right? So using him as a way to create a narrative around this idea of being curious, of going out there and creating things, and just enjoying what you do, right? And so That's my TikTok journey. Now on my Instagram, I was more particular with the content that I was posting. And if you notice, on my Instagram, I only have a little over 1,700 followers, right? And my TikTok has like 80,000. And I say that to say that um, I got more opportunities for working with brands and companies because of my posts on Instagram, which you would think it would be opposite, right? But it was because I was again recycling the videos that I made on TikTok and using the ones that I thought would do well on Instagram, and then I was tagging those organizations or those companies, right? So, for instance, and this is how I got the opportunity to work with. To do the billboards in Times Square and to work with Niantic. I also, was able to have a brand deal with Supernatural, which it's a VR, working out in VR, which it's a product that I already use on a daily basis, right? And so they ended up, I was posting these videos, I tagged them in the content, and then they reached out to me, and I did a video for them, and then essentially I got I got the service, a free subscription for a year for free, and like, why wouldn't I do that? I'm already using the product, and I love it, right? So it was organic for me to have that brand deal. Um, so I got tons of opportunities. I feel like higher quality opportunities from the posts that I made on Instagram versus TikTok. On TikTok, I feel like I was able to create a larger following, and also, like, that social proof of, like, look, she's got 80,000 followers on this platform, um, but I feel like I had a higher quality brand deals from Instagram. Um, so I was just very intentional with what I was posting on here. And also, I'll admit, I didn't do a lot of editing for my behind the scenes, but I also feel like the video's still interesting, right? And so, for instance, like, if I look at this video, and this is using augmented reality. So even though it wasn't edited, right? Not really, because I'm just using a screen recorder using the augmented reality um, app, but it looks like there's something happening, right? It looks like there was some VFX or some editing or whatever. But essentially, it's just me working on that project and then screen recording the application, right? Um, and let me see, where's the one? Let me show you the one that actually got me the opportunity to work with Niantic. So I was using their software. This is the Lightship software, and essentially,
So for the past few days, I've been
I was
experimenting
doing
with
the winter
Niantic's
challenge, and then I was
AirBKO Lightship.
documenting
And oh
me
my gosh, the
learning the
meshes is
software.
blowing my mind.
So
So
as I
basically what's
was,
happening
again,
is this is a
I'm not,
real-time
there's
mesh,
no
and it's
VFX
able to
happening right now.
decipher what
There's
are the
no
physical objects
animation
in my
outside
immediate
of
location, which is my
using the
office.
app,
And these
right?
3D
So I'm
coins are
using
reacting to my
Unity,
real space.
and I'm
So there's
testing
physics and
the AR
occlusion
app,
happening, which is
and I'm
very
just
difficult
screen
in AR,
recording
and I
on my
cannot wait to
phone.
keep playing.
So I'm not going back into After Effects or Premiere and doing any kind of editing. So I will say that if you are documenting content, just, make it interesting. And if you're not working with technology, or if you're not working with digital art, like I was doing those time lapses of me creating art, show that process. But when you do go back, there is a little bit of editing involved. When you go back to edit, make sure that you're getting these small snippets and you're keeping people engaged. And we'll talk about that. I'll talk about the actual, we'll have a video of the editing process. But again,
What
this
if I
is
can make
really
virtual
me
objects react to the
documenting.
real
I'm
world?
not creating the
Oh,
content.
it's working!
This was the video that
And now we
actually
can make as many
landed
of
the
them
opportunity,
appear out of thin
or maybe
air.
it was the other one. Who knows? The point is, I
This
was
is so
posting
cool.
multiple videos of me using their software, and then I was also tagging them, right?
Alright,
So I
let's see
made
if it
sure
reacts
that,
to it.
hey,
And it does!
and then that's the comment,
It
right?
actually
So
reacts to...
there's so much opportunity when you just decide to share what you're interested in, what you're working on, the process. And people love the process. Like, more times than not, people love watching the behind the scenes process versus the actual finished product. Like, if you go on, there's a lot of huge Instagram or YouTube videos of people having that side by side
where they show the process and then they have like the final product, and more people watch the process videos. It's just how we love to see the journey, right? And so I would encourage anyone that is on the fence of, you know, I don't know how to put content out there. I don't know how to create. You don't have to create. You don't have to create the content. You just have to document what you're already creating, right? And I think that at least for me, that switch was the complete unlock. And, you know, I was able to experience things again that I would have never thought possible. Especially being a student. I was literally a student in college, just documenting my journey. And I thought that whatever, I was just going to be working on all these projects for school when, you know, I ended up doing so much more. So anyway, I hope this made sense. I hope this provided you with just a new way of looking at sharing on social. Feel free to ask any questions. I have, you know, and if you want, go to my social, right? You know, my Instagram, my TikTok, and you can kind of see the difference with the videos that I post, to hopefully give you some inspiration.
All right, so I hope this video provided you with some value and some insight into my process of creating content and kind of my journey of how, you know, I was able to document and switch from creation to documenting. If you like this video, if it gave you any value, I would appreciate a like if you think I deserve it, and also subscribe if you want to continue on in this journey. And if you want to dive into more practical ways of creating the content and editing your videos, then go ahead and click on this video here, or just check out the playlist, and then we can dive into actually creating some content right here today. All right, I'll see you on the next one.